Hello guys, this is Paul from Perdu, and for this new video we are not going to be learning about a special kind of trick today, but rather we're going to focus on a full song. I'm going to do a SAV walkthrough for the cover I did of Madeon's song Isometric. Because I think it's also important that we learn how to use special LSDJ tricks in sound design in conjunction and in application within one song. And it's especially important for covers, because when you have covers, you don't have to focus on actual composition, you have to focus on arrangement. But the most important thing about covering stuff in LSDJ is actually sound design. So this is maybe one of the best examples of what I could do. So here you go. First, let's listen to this cover I did. There's a whipped version on SoundCloud, but I don't recommend listening to it. This will be an updated version that I actually used live not so long ago, and I think it makes for a fantastic opener. So here you go. Madeon Isometric Perdu cover. Start. Okay, fail. Well, I think that wraps it up, and then what I do live is I just then use these final chords to mix to whatever song we play next. Okay, so I'm gonna switch my delay repeat to higher. First trick I'm gonna talk about is the song mode trick that I try to do, which is way harder in BGB because of input lag from my controller. You might notice that I altered the key delay repeat to 7/7, which is actually counted, I think, in ticks. I might be wrong, but I think it's counted in ticks. And what this does is what I did with it, what I tried doing, failed spectacularly at something even remotely rhythmic. It works better on real hardware, and I recommend using it for live, because I think it's a fantastic trick and really makes it live, and you edit your song live and you play with rhythm. What it does, but you do have to be careful about it, because it's also easy to forget to set parameters right and to fail spectacularly, just like I did. So what this trick does, I call it the select start trick, is when you're in song mode, it doesn't work on live mode, obviously, because it's start and select. When you're in song mode and you select a row, it acts for a complete row. You press and hold select, and then press start and hold it. So it's interesting. What it does is it retriggers the whole row at the frequency of, I think, 7 ticks. The thing is, it changes with the tempo. So if you have like a 120 song, I recommend 7/6, 130, 7/5, and so on. For like DnB tracks, I usually do this. But the faster you go, the harder it is to get it really on sync. Like, you can't even hear it because of how fast it's going. But 7/3 would be like. So it's interesting, but you don't overuse it. Anyway, this is nice. This is a nice trick to use live. So hold select, hold start, and then release start. If you release select, it'll stop. Okay. So there you go. Nice trick for live. Let's actually go and see the entrails of this save file. So what I begin with is this sound. I make use of detuning. So you might hear that there's a wave instrument. They're all on the same note. If I cycle through rows with B and right and left, you will see that they're all in the exact same note. So here you go. Normal. I think this is even the kick synth. So normal triangle wave note with a V2. High frec. High frec V2. Then I have my non-detuned pulse wave. And then I have a detuned pulse wave layer on top with a very slow, low frequency vibrato. Just sounds like it's drunk. And when you layer this on top of this, it makes for interesting song effects, interesting phase effects. With a very slow periodicity, to which I wanted to have this, to which I wanted to add this, so that it makes this. You can hear it's almost like an owl howling in the night, and I think it sounds great for an intro. And then you put on loads of reverb and just fade it in, and it sets the mood. And then I gradually... then I have this sequence where because my vibrato is low frequency, the L commands react slower. So I wanted this high note to go slow to the bass note, and then I had this sentence here to keep the slow vibrato, and then here I have the chords. So let's listen. Let's listen to this transition between this phrase and this phrase. So there you go. It goes all the way down to this note. It's transposed. Is the same sequence transposed E1. So it's the root note of the bass. Then here I have my same very slow vibrato note, and here, fun part starts. Chords. There's kind of a lot going on here. So I'm going to go one thing at a time. You might have noticed that these scroll through very, very slowly. This is because I think I had a very slow groove of CC, which is 12/12. Basically 12 ticks per step. So it halves the tempo, and we have a very slow tempo of, I think, 100. And this is groove 1, which is 2/2. So in order to save tables, what I did was actually write the complete arp section in a phrase and not in a table, because I would need later a lot of tables. You'll see how. And for this, I have one untriggered instrument through the whole phrase. Notice that the following phrase doesn't have an instrument triggered. This refers to what I talked about in my first video, where you have the wave. This is an evolutive wave instrument. Let me find it. That ping pongs very slowly. And there you can't hear it because it's retriggered, but if I play only this section, you can kind of hear it swelling and falling, and that's because it starts here, and throughout all the B sentences it's going to evolve, so swell and fall, and swell and fall. So that's nice. We have a ping pong that goes from, I think, volume 6 to volume 30 with a little bit of cutoff, so that it's just not only a volume swell, but also a little bit of filtering going on. So this is nice. This is the waveform that I think it uses. Let's see which. So yeah, something very simple. Just gaining in volume and a little bit of filter at the end to reduce clipping. This is a very, very pretty clipped sine wave sort of form. So that's what I have for this section of the chords. Then the fun starts. I have here my slowly vibrating bass that is also going to have very slow accompaniments to make it cycle through the notes. I like it. I think the fact that it's also detuned makes it sound kind of drunk, which I think really fights off the really robotic feel that pulse waves can have in LSDJ when held for too long. So nice trick, slow vibratos. Always good to go to give your sound some character. And then the main kind of chord melody. You might have noticed that here I have a G command that goes back to the really slow groove. So you have this, which goes super slow, and this, which goes super fast. But timed together, this is 12 and this is 2. They're timed perfectly together. You just have to be a bit of math, the super slow divisions, super easy divisions to know what you want in terms of subdivision. And this, because you have more sentences, more phrases than tables, this really is useful for arps. So, and because this is the 1/6 of the previous groove, I have to put a hop here, or else it's not gonna be together at the end. So this is, I think, sextuplets, 30-second note sextuplets of this, or maybe 16th note sextuplets, but it's definitely divided by 6. And then you have the sentence that rolls together. This is basically the arp I use here. I kind of tried to use the same chord, but Madeon has like some super lush, super rich chords, and it was really a pain to transcribe them only by ear. Let's listen to the chord cycle through. Second. So you notice that we still keep a pedal of the same note, but the chords changed. So that's a reversal of chord. That's really nice. So you have this foundation, but still evolution. It's a really nice composition trick that has been used ever since Bach made music. And Bach is a fucking genius. So if you do stuff he does, it will most of the time sound good. And then you may notice that when we do this, tempo cycles up. Very slowly. I have a T command here. T is tempo, and here I started tempo 100. T64 is tempo 100. And then each phrase, I'll have a new tempo that goes slightly up, very organically. Up until T8E, which is 142, so 40 BPM increase in order to go to this, which is, I think, T96, tempo 150. So super organic increase from 100 to 150. This was really painstaking to just check the tempo in every phrase. Really pays off in the end though. So if you want to do tempo increases, do know that the tempo command can be input in one single channel, but affects the whole song. So here, this is why I took the liberty to have it on the second tick, because I don't really mind it being not in sync with the first note. But I do recommend having it on the first note. But since the first notes in a phrase are usually the ones with the most effects, such as grooves, which absolutely need to be on the first slot, you can settle. I don't recommend doing it though. So, second section, rises, and then Noisplosion, as I like to call it. So, same kind of sentences with octaves up, and one small modification. Groove is now 6/6 instead of CC, so groove is divided by 2. This goes twice as fast as the previous because I wanted to have one of my favorite tricks in here, which is artificial delay. So this, every 2 notes I have the chord with the main instrument following. Let's look at the table for this. This is a table, this is weird in a way. This must be the same table that I used on the first instrument, which is why it only cycles through to the first. And then I have this instrument, which is basically the same phrase but offset by 1, 2, 3 notes. So after the third I start. So you have 1 and then you wait 1, 2 and then delay. So this is basically this is a delay that starts here, but I managed to cram it inside one channel. So what I do for this is I have two different instruments, D and E. D goes right, E goes left, and I alternate them. You can also do it by automating a table with L and R and an H, but since I wanted a table on these instruments with a little bit of pulse wave modulation and a very slight vibrato, let's hear how this sounds. Very slight, but still gives it character. So it's like a delay of this, offset by 3, all in one channel, so this is really nice. Oh, and then if it's offset by 3, you might want to wonder what I put here. This is the end note of the cycle, so 1, 2, 3, 4, I put this and I put it here. Because the first note is here, so the last note is just before. Then, here, you might notice that chords are no longer here. They're now there. Pulse channel gives them a little bit of extra abrasiveness, and it really fits the deal because here you have a lot of bass and you have a lot of shit going on, so you need them to cut through. So pulse channel. And what I did for this was same instrument not retriggered, very fast groove, a bit of Elkermans in order to avoid clipping. So this goes instead of going. I need to stop with this mouth explanations, but yeah, I think they fit the deal quite well. So the first part of the instrument swells with an envelope of 1D. starts at envelope 1 and rises at the speed of D. And then I hop to the next sentence, which is same instrument because it's not triggered, and with an envelope that falls. So it's exactly the same, but with an envelope that falls. So I need 2 sentences for my full range of chords. So this is quite hungry. I mean, I have 2 sentences for 1 chord swell and fall, but since you have way more sentences that you have tables, I still prefer to use phrases. Plus, it's a tad easier to time them together with the rest of the song. So you might notice that the swell is actually super timed. Wow, wow. Right in sync with the rest of what happens here. Yum, 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 yum. And then the bass. I wanted that kind of explosion, so I want something that cuts through and that really has character, not something that doesn't evolve. So I have my standard wobble with a bit of distortion. Distortion is added by having high resonance and low cutoff in the second part and high cutoff in the first part. So you have a very round sound here that cycles through a very abrasive squarey sound here. So this is synth 3. So let's look at the waveform. This is the sound at the start, so kind of saw wavy with a little bit of character. Like it looks like flat glasses, and then it cycles through and it just like goes, "Ah, what are you doing to me?" And it warps into this. So raw. This is basically how you make wobbles. Feel free to steal a patch. Warning though, if you steal a patch and don't build your whole sound design around the rest of what you do, it's not going to sound great. This is on purpose. This is a very low sounding wobble, so you might not want to use it for a big fat dubstep drop. Just saying, if you choose to take this, I don't mind at all, but just know that it won't fit a super zomboy Skrillexy kind of patch. You might just hear it going wah, kind of an Inception kind of horn wah. I still wanted the bass to be really subdued, just going and underlining the rest, because what's interesting is here and in the chords. So and then you have a slow E commands here to attenuate the sound. So wave envelope only goes from 0 to 3, so I have it gradually going down. Not as versatile as the pulse wave pulse channel envelope, but still very efficient when you use it well. And then this bass. Something that still cycles but more slowly and really subdued, just to underline the bass in the same way that this did. Okay, and yeah, Noisplosions. How do you make Noisplosions? So basically, there's a number of tricks to this that I use. This is the main instrument of the Noisplosion. So you might hear there's it's all in the table. First you have your very high shape, and then I have a transient, so the first hit, and then the envelope goes straight down and slowly rises, so clack, and then so then you still have the impact, but it still lets the kick cut through, so transient and then swell. This is really, really useful to have impactful percussion that doesn't eat through the rest of your sounds. So this tricks your brain into thinking that it's just like that actually there's a sharp cut here. You can hear it when it's on its own, but not really when it's all together. It just sounds like. And then I have the envelope go down, starting from here, and then the hop cancel that loops this part indefinitely so that it doesn't go. This stops here. And then I have this. This is interesting still. SF, basically what S does is it's going to alter this. You all know when you make snare that this is, if I change this actually, it's going to completely going to change the shape of the sound. Noise shape is not really easily explained. It's just some kind of noise profile that's already coded in LSDJ. Manual says that F alters the first digit alters the pitch, and second digit alters randomness. It's kind of weird to know what exactly this does, but if you play around with it, you'll find stuff that you like. You have 256 FF shapes, so play around with those and find the one you like. And then what I did is that the S command basically adds to this parameter, adds to the shape parameter. It does not set the shape to FO, it adds FO to the shape. And it's relative, so if it adds and then goes to H and then re-adds, it adds on top. So you're gonna go... And you might notice that I'm adding and not subtracting. This is because I wrap it exactly F0 times. So instead of going up, it goes one wrap and then +1, so down each time. Because when you put an F, when you put, for example, an O1 kind of shape, it does this, but really much... this is actually kind of nice. Yeah, it does a noise explosion, but really a faster one. So I found this trick of going for F0 that cycles through them a lot slower. And when you adjust the timing of the hop, you can actually adjust the frequency of how much is added. So yeah, you might want to time this according to what you want. If you want like a super fast, do this. Or you can do this. And what I chose to do is this. Because I don't want it to go into the like super slow noise shape, so I cut it before. Okay, so that's it for first part of the song. Oh, and then there's this. So F commands kind of crashing waves kind of sound. Just add a little bit of character in an arrhythmic way. I wanted on purpose not to be timed with the rest, because this is already super mathematic and I just wanted some kind of swell and falls to go around with it and just add a bit of character. And then here I still have my super tempo trick that goes from 150 gradually up to 180. Here you have a different kind of noise explosion. Okay, really kind of a wave crashing kind of sound. And then, so it swells, and then the envelope goes down. So OB, so start at 0, and then goes up pretty fast, and then stop going up at 8, and then go down at the speed of 4. Really nice kind of crashing wave kind of sound, with a distinct kind of shape. And I use it to underline kicks, like Noisplosion. That's why I call them Noisplosions. To be used parsimoniously. You don't want Noisplosions on every kick. Instead, because if you do that, you won't have any room for any other kind of percussive element, and it's just drown down your sound in all that you've done. Now, so tempo goes up to 180, I think. And then back down. So this is 165. Up to 160. And then back down. Down to super slow tempo 80. Because then I really want that, like, this starts at this starts at 100 and then it goes up to 150, and then it goes slightly down here because I want to underline the explosion, so it goes and then it picks up pace again up to 160, 170, and then back down. So you have a really interesting kind of swell and fall tempo here. And this slows down the chords quite a bit, and then you can really hear. You can really hear what the L command does to them. Instead of doing so it's really a legato kind of chord, really more easy on the ears, and the jump from note to note gives it a nice kind of sound. And then here I have like an empty phrase that goes back to the groove that sets the groove for the next section and kind of puts everything on hold to keep you waiting for what's going to happen next, which is this. So in here I have like everything on hold, and here toms. So how do you make toms? Exactly the same way you make a kick, but with a slower pitch slide, and I choose to have this. So the attack is preserved, and then for the pitch down, I have the envelope go down. So, and then you have, so you tom break, and then once everything is set up in these channels, in these phrases, all hell breaks loose. So, a lot is going on here. Noise, we have the same kind of Noisplosions. Groove is set back to 2 because we need to have constant tempo, and something that is easily controllable, so 6/6, standard groove. Notice that here I have the main, and here it's a copied instrument with an envelope that goes down way, that goes less high, way less high, so it goes because if I did the same instrument 4 times in a row, you wouldn't hear anything. So I just want really big impact on the first hit. And then just a kind of subdued, but still the same instrument copied, but quieter. And my same kind of slowly crushing waves kind of sound. And then here to underline the snare. So snare, kick transient. You can hear it here. Oh, really nice trick to have for your kicks if you have kicks that decay kind of slowly. Using K commands in a row, if you have like in order to give a bit of differentiation to your kicks, use K commands to cut them a bit sooner, and then it cuts also the pitching envelope, so this one will end up being higher than the next. So then you have kind of a tom go down on the same slot that the kick goes. And here's my snare. Snare tone, really important to have. In order to have a kick-ass snare, you need to have this. Keep in mind that an actual snare drum, like the instrument, is not just when you take off the actual snare clutch, you'll hear this. So snares are a tuned instrument. Super common misconception that everyone makes when they start doing electronic music is that snares are only noise. This is not true. If you listen to any kind of like super heavy dubsteppy music, all the snares, in order to cut through and really like pounce and just have that really hard in your face kind of hit, are going to have a tonality to them. Sometimes it's just a super fast, just boop kind of sine noise, and then they have the actual noise going on. So this is how I make kick-ass snares: a bit of sine wave tone, and then high volume transient, and then psh. Let's look at the snare table if I can. So this is super high, so this doesn't really sound good on its own, but when you pair it with the snare tone that I showed in the wave channel, we're gonna hear the hits, and then you're gonna pay attention to the snare. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 2, 3. So you hear there's sh and the poo. So character in the high end and character in the mids. Really important for kick-ass snares. Just in the same way that a kick-ass kit needs a pitch down and a noise transient. What a transient is this kind of super fast, just kind of the snap of the kick. Oh shit. Will be defined by this. So you heard the kick. This is the kind of the T sound. It's really important for your kick to cut through. So don't forget this. And then we have my best friend, the arps. Okay, you notice that in this mother blah blah, I do not have arps in the phrase. I have arps in the tables because these are really too fast and it would eat through phrases way too much. Let's look at this. This is maybe one of the sound design tricks I'm most proud of. So if you use it, please use it well, and please, if you can credit me for it, that's fine. I'm not the one who invented actual arps, but I believe that I'm the one who uses those in this very way the most. Let's look at the first channel, at the Pulse 2 channel first, because this is the basic arp that I use, which is major 7th. So you have root notes, major 3rd, 5th, and then is this an octave? Yes. So do 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 do. So this is how you make a 4-sound chord without the C command, which only gives you an option for 3 sounds in 1 tick periodicity. So I have 2 ticks per note, 0 0 4 4 7 7 CC. So this is slower, and it really gives you the time to appreciate each note in the arp. Not like I found that faster arps are really you can just hear the clip noise between each note and not really the note itself. So I use slower arps. So you might listen to this as a major, but since the bass is not this is not actually the root note. This is the second sound of the arp. The bass is like do, and this is like do. So this makes for like a 5-sound chord, which is really rich. So if I listen to only let's listen. If I listen to only this and this, and only this and this. Okay, let's try again. Live mode is tricky. So you have the bass is here. So bass is this note, and it starts on a do, just as if the bass was this. since the bass is here on the relative minor third, this gives I don't know the English notation of the chords, but this is a minor chord with, I think, a sus somewhere in there. I don't really know what the chord is, but it's a more interesting chord than just your standard minor or major with an added seventh. And the way I do this crazy thing is by layering two arps on top of another with a different shape. So this is 25% pulse wave, and this is 50% pulse wave, so you have interesting phasing going on here. And this has like a really complicated table with pulse wave modification that is timed in the same way that the chord is. And you might notice that this is the exact same chord, but offset by 3. So it actually starts here, so 0 0 4 4 7 7 C C, as opposed to this one, which starts here. So you have the first note being already in sync with this note, and then you have a bit of phasing going on because it's going on at the same speed, but offset not by 2 but 3. So you have a lot of I wish I could use it. I wish I could illustrate it a little more visually, but I really can't. So you're gonna have to figure it out. Sorry. Basically, this is the same chord but offset not by 1, not by 2, but by 3. Play around with how you can delay the chords. I'm gonna do a video on arps where I will demonstrate what you can do with arp offset. It's really, really interesting. And interesting offsets, you have like, because there is 2 ticks per different note in the arp, you can have 5 different kind of interesting offsets if you delay the ticks by 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So this is something to keep in mind when you're doing arps. Make them as rich as possible. So you have this, which is lined up with this. This goes with LNR commands, and I think this doesn't. Yeah, this is dead center. And then I use the tables with different chords in order... What I used to do before was to have one different instrument per chord with a table. But if you optimize carefully and choose your root notes well, you can just like slap the same instrument with a different table on top. Table OC is the same thing, the same chord as before, but with 3 instead of 4, so minor instead of major. Really interesting chord at the end. I think it's minor 7th, sus 9 or sus 2 or something. Really interesting because you have like the minor third and the major second that rub together. These 2 sounds rub together to give you this magnificent chord at the end. At the end, like the very end. This kind of sound, which I really try to use as much as I can. So that's it for arps. A lot of sound design went into it. I'm really proud. And then you have each instrument triggers a rising envelope because I want my arps to be kind of sidechainy. Notice that they are really quiet, but when put together, like this is super quiet. But when you put them together, it kind of doubles up. It really adds to the sound. You have both arps mashed together in one fell swoop of pure awesomeness, and then you have this. So, kick, standard kick, and bass. This is like a nice bass that I timed at 6, like speed 6, just 3. You're gonna hear that it only cycles through 3 frames. Dee da dee da da dee da da dee da da dee. 1 2 3 2 1 2 3 2 1. And I have an F3 because I want to offset them by 3 frames because it starts too quiet if I don't. If I offset them by 3, it's gonna go look for a frame that's raspier. That offsets the wave cycle, as talked about in my former video on the Wav channel. This I think is the single part that took the most time to sound design and to put together. And then you have basically the same, but with different chords. And the sidechain is in a different place, so that I have this this instrument, and here I don't retrigger it because I want the table. The table doesn't change, and the envelope changes here, so I don't need a new instrument. I just switch notes, and the tables change each chord. So tables when I want the chords to change, and envelopes on every beat, because I want them to go da 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 da. Da, 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 to give way for the kicks that will sound just on this tick, just on this step. I want the kicks to really shine through, and it gives you this kind of. And this timed together with this kind of same, just the same kind of mashed together arp awesomeness. And you can really hear the kick really well because everything goes down when it hits. This is kind of your poor man's sidechain compression emulation in LSDJ with just volume. So same bass, different kind of frame offsets in order to give it a little bit of differentiation throughout the so that the frame cycle is not the same on every hit. It really makes a bit of differentiation to something that's really 4 to the floor, really repetitive. It gives it some kind of nice evolution to it. And then just Noisplosion at the beginning, and then started on the third beat. Just plain kick transient. You can actually hear it. It's kind of like a ch. And if you choose your shape and your length well, you'll hear that this actually adds not only high end, but the pop of the noise actually can add a bit of low end pump to your kick. When it's loud enough. So I usually, my kick transients are like the highest volume possible, and everything is like maximum of volume 6. Because actually, if you want to go loud, go quiet. That would be my main motto. Like, if you want something to sound loud, don't make it loud. Make the rest quiet. You can really hear it's loud because it swells, not because it is loud. Because it's only loud referentially, and this is something that blew my mind when I discovered it. Go quiet to go loud, and then you'd have this. So you hear the dee doo dee dee doo dee dee doo dee dee. This is because I want the chord to not be the same. So you have like, oh man. This must be like a head scratcher. But let's say the chord starts here. So you have your root note, your third, and your fifth. And the fifth is like the same chord twice, but this note's changes. So you have, it's like on a piano, you would have like your 4 fingers, and one of the fingers shifts one note once every chord. And then I switch to this chord, which is a standard minor chord, because the next song we usually play live starts in this key. Nice pulse modulation. Wide, narrow, wide, narrow. So yeah, how to make super wide sounding, super chord sounding arps that really sound like, I don't know, 12 LSDJs. This is being a bit modest here. I think in 2 LSDJs you could have like one note in each channel and have then thus a 4 note chord in 2 LSDJs, so 4 pulse channels. But I found a way to like cram it all into 2 channels. Have it offset actually makes your brain think that 4 notes are played at the same time when there's only 2. But 2 who go really fast and are not at the same position, are not at the same start position. So your brain just kind of glues them all together, and it goes like this. When it's done right, like this could use a bit of work still. But when it's done right, you just hear the chords well, and you don't even hear the note switch in the arp. Like, you don't hear this at all. You just hear chords. So there you go. I think that goes around the most things that I did in this video, which is already pretty long. I think I haven't timed it yet. Yeah, I think I actually went through it all. Thanks for watching, guys. I know you faithful supporters actually will watch the video to the end, because I've received comments that you do. So this is really motivating to make more. Check out the original sound by Madeon. Tell me how mine compares, please. I have a hard time. I have like self-confidence issues when it comes to comparing my work to the one of a full-fledged genius producer such as Madeon. So here you go. I hope you like it. I might just release the save for this song because it's not mine. Like, I didn't make it, and I did cover it, but I don't own the song per se, so I'm completely fine giving away the save for it, so that if you nerds want to study what's done inside further up, or just straight up copy patches, that's fine with me. Just ask for it in the comments and I'll just maybe give the ESNG file. So this has been Paul from Perdu. Thank you guys for watching. Please give us a like or a subscribe if you thought that was helpful or informative. Shine on in the comments to tell us what you thought of our work. And yeah, tell us what you want us to talk about in the next videos. Thanks a lot. I really enjoy what you've been giving us as far as support goes. We've hit 100 likes. We've hit 1,000 plays. This is awesome. This is all thanks to you. And yeah, great things are coming, so stay tuned. It might have to do with an EP release soonish. I don't know yet, but I really hope it's gonna be. So yeah, show us your support. It's really, really helping us out so far. Great things have happened and great things will happen thanks to you. Paul out.